Tell us about your favorite technique in the book.
So I would say one of the things that I like, especially around fearlessness, is I always look at root cause to fearlessness. And I'm like, so what is it that holds people back from being decisive or making a decision or something like that? And what I've learned is typically it's the fear, the ego of what if, right? It's the what if they don't like me? What if I make a mistake? What if I'm wrong? What if, and this could be at a subconscious level. I'm not saying it's always a conscious level, but what if I reach out to someone and they're not in, I can't hire them right now. I'm like, boy, does that make me look bad? Or as a leader, I believe, like I said earlier, no one wants to follow a wishy-washy leader. You need to be decisive, but the problem is to be decisive, you have to risk being wrong. And if you risk being wrong, that means risk your ego.
Yeah,
and so one of the things that I coach and mentor is you have to look at from an ego standpoint, what is that ego? What is the message that your ego subconsciously is talking to you and saying? Is it saying, I need to be right? Because if you need to be right and your ego is saying, I got to be right, you're not going to risk being wrong. So you may not make a decision. If your ego is saying, I have to have integrity, you may not be decisive and you may not be fearless because something you say or do may lead to not having integrity. For example, you don't like the restaurant I recommended. If you don't like it and you challenge me and say, boy, Dave, that was a bad recommendation, that's hitting my ego and my belief that I have integrity, because now you're telling me I don't have integrity. So what I do to avoid this, just don't make a decision, or I avoid being decisive, or I have an out, like, oh, it's a good restaurant, but you may or may not like it. That's my out, so that if you don't like it, I go, well, said you may not like it. That means I'm always right. That means my integrity is intact, but I'm not decisive. So it could be that you have a belief that you're always right. You have a belief that you have integrity. You may have a belief that you're reliable. You have a belief that you're reliable. If I'm reliable, I would not make a bad decision.
Right.
Here's the problem. To avoid a bad decision, I just don't make a decision, because then I'm still reliable. I still have integrity. I'm still smart. I'm still right. I'm still compassionate. So what I found when I coach people and I work with them on this is, like I said, I just had a conversation with a woman before this call. Major breakthrough. This is exactly what the breakthrough was. I coached her on this, and it's taken weeks to change mindset. And I talk about the strategies and techniques to do that, but it's not an overnight thing, because we've been dealing with this ego and belief system for our entire life. So to change overnight is not the easiest. Just like changing your golf swing, it doesn't happen overnight. No. So that's why I call it performance coach. It's changing performance, and it's getting to root cause. And like I said, those three core elements tend to be the root cause that holds people back, even if they're well-trained. You're a well-trained leader. If you're wishy-washy, people won't follow you. And you're wishy-washy because you're not fearless. You're not decisive.
To walk them through that strategy. Okay.
Yeah. So that's an example.
I'll give you, we're getting close to time here.